Hi, everyone. Welcome to our bi-weekly Hangout on Air series. I'm Krista Seiden, Analytics Advocate at Google. And today I'm joined by Dave Oleson, who is a PM on Data Studio. Thank you so much for joining us, Dave.
Thanks for having me, Krista.
So he's a PM on Data Studio, which means that we are talking about Data Studio today, which is very exciting. It's one of our new products in the Google Analytics 360 suite. So let's go ahead and take a look at that agenda. So first, we are going to introduce you to Data Studio 360, tell you a little bit about the product and the why behind why we built it. Then we're actually going to go in, and Dave is going to give you a really awesome demo of Data Studio. So you're going to see us building reports and getting hands-on with this awesome tool. Then we'll take a look at those resources that we have for you and finish with Q&A. So as always, submit your questions either via the form that you find in the invite for this HOA or via the Q&A box that's on your screen in the HOA window. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in to introducing you to Data Studio. So 60% of marketers said that marketing measurement tools are difficult to use, reducing team collaboration. So we set out to answer one question. How can we make data more accessible and useful? So let's look at a common analysis and reporting workflow. What do people do when they're actually looking at data and trying to synthesize it and share insights with their business? So people first need to connect data. They need to access it and prepare it and transform it and integrate that data into various systems. Then they need to actually visualize it. And that could mean collaborating with different people and using different tools and different stories to make that data come alive. And then finally, they're going to share that data with their different stakeholders and decision makers in their businesses. So there are usually many tools that are involved in this process. So on the Connect side, you may have different databases and CSVs and APIs, Excel, SQL, so many different options here. On the visualization side, you might have things like PowerPoint or Google Slides, PDFs, JPEGs. And on the sharing side, well, there's a lot of options there too, right? Sharing via your monitor or via email or through mobile, lots and lots of different options. So what we found when we started looking across all of these different stages is that there are many different tools that people use to progress across this workflow, but there are limitations with a lot of these tools in each of these different stages. And that means it's expensive and can take a lot of time to actually do this whole workflow and this whole process. So let's look at those current challenges. So we found that data often lives in purpose-built tools, right? That means that it could be siloed into different views and requires experts to actually access that data. We also found that there's lots of exporting and importing. So it's a manual process, it's time-consuming, and the data is static. And then finally, there's spreadsheets and emails, sharing this data and how you best visualize and share it with different people in your organizations. And something like a spreadsheet could be static, and it could have limited collaboration and poor visualization. So those are some of the challenges with this current process. I'm going to hand it over to Dave now to tell you what we did about that.
Thanks, Krista. So we built Data Studio 360 sort of to solve this workflow of going from connecting to your data, reporting on your data, and sharing on your data. And what we're really trying to do is to bring all of your data together to create insightful stories and share those stories across your organization. So there's really three areas of Data Studio 360. The first thing you want to do is connect to your data. And to do that, we have a data sources tool that allows you to manage your data, access your data, transform, and govern your data. The next tool is the reporting tool. And this is our visualization platform. This allows you to create custom dynamic stories and sort of have these update over time as your data updates. And finally, what is most exciting is the sharing piece. So we have a docs-like sharing and collaboration model that's built on top of Google Drive. So just as you would share and collaborate on a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet, you can collaborate on a Data Studio report. So with that, I'd love to show you guys a demo of the product and show you all the things that you can do within Data Studio.
Awesome. I'm so excited for this part.
So if you see my screen here, we have reports and data sources. And this is just a list of all the reports that I have, just like you would have in a Google in Google Docs or Google Spreadsheets. So to create a new report, I come down to the lower left and I click the plus symbol. And this drops me into our reporting canvas. And from here, the first thing I need to do is attach a data source. So on the right side here, I click OK, got it. And now I come in, and I'm going to get my Android app data from Google Analytics. So I attach my data source to the actual report. And now I have icons on the top, so I can draw different visualizations, properties on the right side, and then this grid system. And so here, I can click a time series, draw the time series on the chart, and we instantly visualize data. And we use smart defaults here, so we know this is a time series. So we look at the date, and then we look at for the dimension, as well as we look at sessions for the metric. And it's very easy to create more visualizations on this page. So we can come in here and create a geo map, as well as a pie chart.
Gotta love the pie charts.
Everybody loves a good pie chart. And we can give our report a title. And we can style the text, so 30 size font, centered. And we'll call this Android app data. And then up here on the right, we're in edit mode, and we can move into view mode. So just as in under a minute here, we've created a simple report that looks like the GA Visitors Overview section. And what's really cool, too, is we can come back in, and we can actually style this report and make it much more interesting. So we come back into the Style tab, click on the time series, click on the Basic tab, and we can add more metrics into this graph. So we click the Add Metric, search from the top. We can add in the average session duration. It's this line along the bottom. So let's go back, click on the Style tab, show multiple axes. And now we have both of these metrics graphed on the same time series.
That's really cool. You can see how they trend together then.
Right, exactly. And even if these are two metrics that we care about more so, we can add in scorecards and see like the top level numbers. So drag a scorecard on here. This is sessions. It's 3.9 million sessions. Let's make it a little prettier. Add in compact numbers. Command-C, Command-V. Oh, whoops. Control-C, Control-V.
That Chromebook will get you every time.
And now I can come in here and I can change my sessions, my metric here from sessions to duration. And I've created a different report now that sort of highlights the top level data that perhaps my customers need to see. And one of the requests that we've gotten a lot is, how do I see multiple different data sources on one report or multiple GA properties on one report? And with this tool, we've made it very easy to do that. So I'll just walk you through that right now. So first, let's make a little bit more room on the canvas. We can move the time series over. Let's delete this pie chart. We can shift select all these and move these elements over.
Oh, that's nice.
As well as move the title over. And now we can shift select all of these elements. Control-C and Control-V. Whoops. Control-C. Control-V. We shift select all these elements together. We group them together, and now we can actually apply a different data source to all of these charts. So coming over here into the group properties, select a different data source, and now we can come in and we can put our iOS app in here, attach this data source to all these charts, and now we're looking at our Android data versus our iOS data.
Oh, that's so cool. In like literally 2 seconds, you just created the same report side by side for Android versus iOS.
Right. And it gets even better. Let's say we want to actually show different date ranges across this. We can come up here and select the date range filter. And so we have all these controls built in that you can paste directly onto the canvas. We select the date range filter. We go back into view mode. And now as a user, if I want to come in here and look at, maybe it's the last 7 days is the default. But let's look at the last 28 days, excluding today. And with a little Google magic, we've just queried across multiple data sources the same date range, and it's all updated super fast.
That's super cool. So how would can I get access to this? Can I help edit it?
Sure. So we've built everything in here on top of Google Drive. So just as you would share a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet, I can now share this with Krista. So I click on the sharing button, share with Krista. I give her edit access. I can also select that she can only view the report. But in this case, she has edit access. And now she can actually come in here and edit this report.
Oh, hey, look at that. I see it in my email right now. I'm going to go ahead and click on that.
And what's really great is because it's on Drive, you can not only share with other users, you can also share with different groups. You can move, all of these reports are created as Drive objects. So you can pull different objects into a shared folder, so then everybody automatically has access to those reports. There's a lot of options in terms of sharing.
Awesome. Check it out. There I am.
So Krista's up here now on the right. And now we can go through and we can style this report together.
Perfect.
So why don't you take the iOS side, and I'll take the Android side.
Sounds good.
So move that down. We can give this the Android green background.
Ooh, I'm going to go with blue then. First, I'm going to have to ungroup this, though.
Yes. So ungroup that.
Perfect. I like how you can actually see the two people with the different colors like you have in Google Drive.
Right.
Editing different things.
Right. So we support multiple different collaborators. So we could have 3, 4, or 5 people all working on the same report.
Sweet.
So I'm going to remove that dimension, style my line, Android green. I'm going to also change the color of my map of the world.
I'm going to leave mine blue. I'm going to make these blue too. I think this is super powerful how you can have multiple people editing in here at the same time.
Yeah, this is really great. This is one of the things that our customers have asked for.
Cool.
So yeah, so this is a simple, this is just another report that we've built really quickly. And I just want to highlight one more feature on here that we have is we actually have date range comparisons. So I'll go ahead and, unfortunately, I'll delete all this iOS app data out of here.
Oh, man, I just worked so hard on that.
It's very easy to recreate.
But it looks so pretty.
So we can delete all this iOS app data. Straggler. And now on our time series, we actually can go in to the data tab, and we can look at a comparison period to see how sessions are trending versus the same week in the prior year. And we can do the same thing also with our scorecards and look at sort of the, oh, Krista's coming along to help me out with this.
Yeah, thought I'd jump in there. Cool.
So now we have these. We can rearrange all of this on the page. So let's move this over to the right. And Krista, why don't you style all that stuff, and I'll talk about filters.
Perfect.
So not only can we put date filters on our canvas, we can also put any sort of arbitrary dimension on here. So for here, this is the source, the traffic source. So I'll go into dimensions, and let's say we actually want to be able to look at this by country. So I can come into the search bar, search for the country dimension, update it with countries. Are you done styling over there?
Yeah, sure.
Looks good. I can come over here into back into view mode, and now any user who hits the page can filter this by country. So let's say I want to look at sessions only in the United States. I click right here, and this updates all in real time. And you can put as many filters as you want on the page. You could look at it exclusive of the United States as well.
Nice. That's super powerful. Like on the fly, you can easily basically segment by country here. And you can have this, anybody can come in that you've shared this with. They can look at any country you want. So basically, you could have this one dashboard that you can make available to, let's say, your whole marketing organization.
Right.
And then all of your marketers, regardless of where they are, can see the global data. And your marketers in the UK can narrow it down to just the UK or just France or just the US.
Yes, exactly.
Super powerful. One report serves many audiences, and it's,
right.
They're doing it on the fly.
Yes, it's totally reusable and can be copied over and applied to different data sources as well.
I love it.
So yeah, so rather than going through all the different styling options, let me go through actually and show you some more reports that we've built. So this is a sample report for, this is just a basic marketing site. Artemis Health, we have these top line KPIs that they care about: users, sessions, page views, and bounce rates. You can look at how site sessions are trending, what are the top countries by sessions, what channels are driving engagement, engagement by age and gender. And then here's another one that's very similar to the one that we just built, comparing an Android app and an iOS app. This is for Acme, the famous manufacturer of TNT and anvils. We show user sessions, average session duration, as well as comparing sessions to prior sessions in the previous period, as well as sessions by device type for both Android and iOS.
That's much prettier than our report.
Yeah,
I think I need to spend a few more minutes styling.
I think it would only take a few more minutes actually to make it look like this.
Right. I think you're probably right.
And it's not just Google Analytics data. We also connect to other data sources within Google. So this is an example of connecting to a Google Sheet. So this is a world population, internet, and mobile data as of 2013. So we have the 3 different world maps showing world population and growth, internet usage, as well as mobile subscriptions and growth. This just highlights you can make multi-line bars, combo charts, and then in the tables, you can apply bar charts, heat maps, sort of to really get a rich view of your data. That's
cool. Can you explain that heat map a little more? Is it like they choose the thresholds for that?
Sure. So it's automatically chosen, and a gradient is applied based on what color that you've chosen to actually show in your heat map.
Nice. I like that. Visually pops.
Yes. Here's another cool one. This is a demo of this is bringing in both Sheets and BigQuery data. So we have this the mean precipitation and rain for Chicago in a spreadsheet, as well as we have a connection to BigQuery showing the average Chicago flight departure and arrival delay. So here you have data sources from 2 different disparate data sets that we've brought together into one report. And we also made it very easy to query across these 2 data sources sort of in one UI. So for instance, here, this is for the full year of 2012. And let's say we wanted to look at these in a month that has a lot of rain, say like February. We can just come up to the date picker, pick a start date of February 1, and an end date of February 29th.
Oh, that's right. It was a leap year.
And
February 12th. Oh, yeah, that was a leap year too, huh?
Yeah. And so now here, sort of, we see that as precipitation jumps, we can also see, flight departure and arrival delays jump as well. So something sort of we know intuitively to be true, right. We can now tell that story in data.
And with 2 very different data sources, you said BigQuery is where the actual arrival and departure delay data is coming from.
Right.
So that would be, the airport or whoever has that pipeline. And then Google Sheets is we've pulled in that data, mean precipitation from some other source, put it into a sheet, uploaded that too, and we're comparing the 2 next to each other.
Right.
That's really cool. I like that you have the Chicago skyline in the background there too.
So we have an image of the Chicago background, so everybody knows it is Chicago. And this is sort of the same type of data, the US flight departures and arrival delays, but this is across sort of all airlines. This is based on BigQuery, 10 years of BigQuery data. So here we just sort of have the average departure delay and arrival, and then we have these broken down flight delays by airline.
I'm sorry, did you say 10 years of BigQuery data?
Yes, this is 10 years of BigQuery data.
That's a lot of data.
Right. So, with Data Studio, we actually, it scales from a very small amount of data, like in Google Sheets, to terabytes or even petabytes of data by hooking up to BigQuery.
That's amazing. That is so much data in one place. And how fast is this?
So this, it's relying on the underlying query power of BigQuery. So oftentimes you can get results across terabytes of data in the matter of seconds.
That's amazing. That is like an amazing amount of data available at your fingertips.
And so this is sort of the last demo. Is we have this is GA data, but this is unsampled GA data. This is a demo account that we have, and we're processing every single hit into BigQuery. So if you actually want to be able to do this and get around sampling, you can talk to your account manager and send all of your hit level data into BigQuery. And so now, actually, using Data Studio, not only can we query GA and BigQuery, but we can query sort of unsampled GA data inside of BigQuery. So this is just looking at the last week of data where we have sessions, users, page views, bounces, and we're processing 105 million hits. But we actually can come in here and set the date range. Let's say we wanted to look at it since the beginning of 2016. We can apply this across that query across all the data, and the data streams back very quickly. And so now we've processed around 1.8 billion hits to get these metrics up here and sort of show these graphs around what's going on an unsampled data set.
Okay, so I just want to pause here for 1 second and talk about this in a little more detail. So you just showed 1.8 billion hits, which is far greater than your normal sampling limits in the GA interface, even for an Analytics 360 customer. So this is accessing unsampled data like that. Like you changed the date range, and all of that data came back 1.8 billion hits worth processed in this report.
Yes, that's correct.
So if you are a premium user with a lot of data, and you are looking for a good way to visualize that data and access it and be able to do this in near real time, this seems like a pretty good solution. Yes. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really powerful that we can scale down from these very small data sets to very large. And sort of that's the beauty of Data Studio is we're very data agnostic. So we can hook into all these different data sources within Google and apply sort of this Google scale or tap into that Google scale to process these large data sets.
Totally. And I noticed you have several filters on this. So you really can slice and dice this data in this dashboard.
Exactly. We could look at United States only. And it comes back very fast that we've now just sliced down and we've processed 340 million hits just for the US.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. So I think that about wraps it up for the demo then, right?
Yes.
So why don't we head back over into the slides? We each have a couple last slides to talk about. So we have our takeaways and resources, and then we'll get to your questions. So I see a lot of questions coming in. That's awesome. Keep them coming, and we'll be sure to get to them all. So the benefits of using Data Studio. I think we just talked about a lot of these. Hopefully you have a pretty good idea of why this is so beneficial. But it really helps you to work across that flow of connect, visualize, and share. So analytics teams can increase their productivity by simplifying and unifying that workflow. Marketing teams can make much faster decisions by accessing that data directly, especially if you have that BigQuery connection where you're really accessing tons and tons of data within milliseconds. Insights are visually compelling through beautiful custom reports and dashboards that we've built out here. And really, making these pretty and stylized doesn't take that much time. Another 10 minutes of work on that dashboard, and I think we would have had it looking a lot closer to what that Acme dashboard looked like. And you can leverage the power and collective wisdom through greater collaboration and sharing. So as you saw, you can share via the same sharing functionality that we have in Drive and in Google Docs. I was able to grab that link that was shared with me and pop right in and start editing as well. And we collaborated doing that. Super powerful. Okay, so some resources for you guys. You can go to g.co/Data Studio 360, and that will give you a lot of information on Data Studio. We have deep dive videos coming to the Google Plus community. So these are 15 to 20 minute long videos on building reports and setting up data sources and kind of really deep diving on kind of the intricacies of these reports. And actually in those videos, you build out from start to finish a really nice stylized report in about 10 minutes. So pretty cool. Help Center, support.google.com/360suite/Data Studio. And then you can always find us on social at Google Analytics. I'm at Krista Seiden. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and jump into Q&A. So a lot of good questions have come in. All right. You ready for this?
Sure.
Are there plans for this to do statistical analysis and forecasting? This question is from Rob. And is it competing with the likes of SAS visualization or other tools?
So that's a great question. We really look at this as we went to our customers and asked them where they thought they needed help. Mm-hmm. And this sort of is the result of that, sort of how we build these nice reports and share them. And also sort of in terms of like statistical analysis and forecasting, we've heard a lot of great suggestions from our users. And so just keep those coming because we're going to be building out more functionality as time goes on.
Cool. A question from Keith is, are we able to get all data out of GA into Data Studio, including data from double-click integrations or something else? So the quick answer to this is anything that is available as a metric and dimension through the API is going to be available in Data Studio. If it's not available through the API or as a metric and dimension, then it's not going to be available in Data Studio right now. But we're constantly working on improving those connections.
Right.
Cool. Amsel wants to know, is real-time reporting supported in Data Studio?
So not at this time. But we're always, you can always query, you can always push a query down to GA to get data as fast as possible, but real-time is not supported at this moment.
Cool. What about drill down and OLAP support? I'm not sure what OLAP is.
Online analytical processing.
Oh, thank you. That question comes from Mike.
So I think what Mike's getting at is, do we support sort of multi-dimensional filtering? So you can put multiple filters on a page and filter through and have all those filters coordinate down to a specific chart.
Got it. So do we support that?
If I'm understanding correctly with the drill down.
Yes, great. Okay, so Mobify wants to know, is this included in Drive or do I need to have GA Premium? So the answer to that is it is included in neither. Data Studio is a standalone product, and you can talk to an account manager or your resellers to look into what that might be for your business. A question from John. To play off the date question from Mike, can we align year-over-year time ranges by date and or day? By default today in GA, it aligns by date. However, it would be nice to select to align by day. Oftentimes comparing year over year, there's a shift in dates and days.
Oh, in dates and days. So if I'm understanding correctly, you would want to be able to align
like a Monday to a Monday.
A Monday to a Monday. So we don't currently support that right now in Data Studio, but that's a great suggestion for the future.
Awesome. Okay, so Stefan wants to know, what about bringing other data sources in besides GA? What about preparation of data? So typical ETL work.
Yeah, so we support connections to other places inside of Google. So we have a Sheets connector, a BigQuery connector, an attribution connector, and we have a really exciting connectors roadmap to connect to all the data inside of Google as well as external sources.
Awesome. So I'm hearing lots and lots of connectors coming down the road.
Yes, lots of connectors coming down the road.
And what about data preparation?
So there is some sort of simple data preparation. There's you can create calculated metrics, and there's string concatenation. And you can sort of do sum, count, average within the data sources tool, but more to come in this area.
Awesome. Okay, Sandra wants to know, what about arrangement options, align and distribute like for aligning and distributing widgets?
Oh, yes. So there actually is an arrange function within Data Studio. So if you just double click on or click on 2 different options, you can arrange them the top, the bottom, left align, right align, center them.
Nice. And I think I heard Nick mention that that's something that we're also constantly improving.
Right.
Awesome. Sandra also wants to know, can I track who saw my report or dashboard, how often the report is seen, when the report is seen?
So GA on Data Studio.
GA on Data
GA
Studio.
on Data Studio.
Sandra wants GA on Data Studio.
Yeah, yeah. So that is not something that we support at this time, but we're always looking for feedback on what features we should build in the future.
So possibly the ability to add GA onto Data Studio.
GA on Data Studio, yes.
Okay, so Polina wants to know, can we adjust the width of the table's columns?
Not right now, but that is something that we are actively working on.
Great. So much more flexibility coming to tables.
Much more flexibility coming.
Eager wants to know, what about, nope, we already asked that. Sorry. Sandra wants to know, can my report have multiple pages and slides? Oh, that's something we actually didn't demo. And will it be possible to export the data, or even better, integrate the tables, graphs to Google presentations updated automatically?
Right. So we do have multiple pages, and you can add as many pages as you want to a report.
Yep.
So you can sort of tell a story going through your report, with each page being a different sort of view of the data, or even each page being a different data source.
Awesome.
And so as for exporting, right now, there's not the ability to export tables and graphs directly into a Google presentation and slides, but that is something that we're looking at into in the future, to have a very tight integration across all the Google products.
Awesome. So Mike would like to know, I think this is the question that was supposed to come before the last question I asked from Mike. Can date ranges be set dynamically? E.g. last month, last week, etc. Similarly, is there a master date range that controls all elements, or can elements be set to individual date ranges?
So yeah, so date ranges can be set dynamically. You can have a rolling date range or a fixed date range. So you can have a rolling week or 2-week or 28-day period.
Including and excluding
today. Yes,
today.
Exactly. Including and excluding today. And there's also, you can set a master date range across the entire report. And then as well as you can actually group a date range to a specific chart or a group of charts and have that updated to show like this month versus that month on your report.
Nice. So let's say you had a line chart and you wanted that to show like a rolling 6 months or something like that, but you wanted your scorecards to just show this month or last month. You can do that. Very cool. Ellie wants to know, can you export Data Studio reports as a clean PDF for exec reporting?
So this is actually a very common request that we've gotten. Right now, we do not support PDF exports. We feel it's very easy to share a report and look at these beautiful dynamic reports. But it is something that we're looking into for the future.
Totally. And I guess to kind of build on that one, I think exporting and sharing a PDF is kind of a, it's a more traditional way of sharing that data. But this really lives on our Google infrastructure of Drive and Docs and those easy sharing capabilities. And so I think it takes away a lot of the need to actually share a downloadable PDF, right?
Exactly.
They just click on that link and they have this interactive dashboard. They don't need to see any of the elements of the data or the, all the editing functions below it. They can just see this nice, pretty dashboard in front of them once they follow that link. So I'm not sure it's quite as relevant, in this case, but it's an interesting question.
I think one of the things that we've tried to do is make sharing as easy as possible. So it sort of eliminates the need to actually share PDFs, because it's way easier actually just to send a Drive style view access to this report, and somebody can go and interact with the report as you can with a PDF.
Totally. And the other good part about that is when I as an analyst realized I included the wrong metric or something, I can go change it, and that's updated on the report they're going to see, rather than a static PDF having static data.
Exactly.
So, love it. So Polina wants to know if we can download data from reports.
So right now, we're not supporting downloading of data from reports, but something we're looking into for the future.
All right. Ellie wants to know, what's the sampling limit, same as the GAUI or API? I think the answer there is this data is just coming directly from your connections that you already have. So if you have sampling limits in GA, then you would have those same sampling limits in Data
Right,
Studio, correct?
exactly.
It's just the pipeline of data is what you're bringing in. Data Studio is just the way to actually visualize that data.
Right. So if you actually want to, the way to get around the sampling limits is actually to hook your GA into the BigQuery export, and then you have all your data in BigQuery.
And then you have those billions and billions of hits
right,
all
exactly.
at your fingertips to change and modify on the fly.
Exactly.
Paulina wants to know, is it possible to print reports?
So print reports, it's something that we're looking into. It's
we're going old school here.
Along with PDFing, we are also looking into printing reports. So you could imagine in the future one day, maybe you would want to be able to print a PDF. But I think it's not necessarily something that it sort of takes away from the power of the product if you put these reports into a PDF. I'm gonna
have to advise against printing out dashboards. You know, if it was some kind of a static dashboard that had nothing that changed, and you know, it was like that one-time share, maybe. But these are living documents, and they are constantly updated in terms of the data freshness as you like come back in and refresh that data, or change the date range, or you know, filter anything. And so you really can't get that power if you're printing this out. So cool. That is all the questions that we have come in. If there's any last minute questions, go ahead and get them in. But Dave, I just really wanted to ask you, I think you're fairly new here at Google, right?
Yes.
So coming in and, you know, getting to work on this really robust product that really does deliver on robust visualizations, dashboarding, shareable, collaborating, you know, all these nice buzzwords we like to say. What are, you know, you're new with your new Glue hat on.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on this? And, you know, where do you see it going? And how do you see this impacting the industry and our users?
So yeah, so I only started a few months ago. And when I first saw this, I thought, man, this is so incredible. I really have to work on this. This is so great. It's and I'm not biased at all. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really what this is going to do is just allow more and more users access to a lot of these big data tools that are maybe more difficult to use right now. Mm-hmm. So right now, to use BigQuery, you have to know SQL. And as we know, talking to a lot of our customers, aren't as technical. Some are.
It's just not as accessible.
Yeah, it's just not as accessible to as many people. And so what I think this really is going to do is democratize data access within organizations to a lot of these, the GA tools, the BigQuery tools, and all these tools across Google that right now might be difficult to access.
Totally. I think that's a really good point, is the data democratization. So we do have one more question that came in from Attica.
Mm-hmm.
Can data filters be applied in Data Studio? We
yes.
demoed that, right?
Right. So we demoed the data filters within Data Studio.
So you can filter on all sorts of elements, basically any metric or dimension that we have.
Yeah, exactly. You can apply any dimension or metric filter to a report.
So, for example, we showed the country, right? You can only see US data or only see UK data or the source or medium. So that's great. I think that about wraps us up for this HOA. So Dave, thank you so much for joining us. This was really insightful. I'm super excited about this product, and I think our users are really excited to get their hands on it soon as well.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with more HOAs, and definitely take part in the community, watch those short videos, participate in discussions, and we'll see you soon.